Hi guys, I'm Kimberly from Fat Quarter Shop, and we have a brand new book called Barn Star Sampler that is published by Martingale. The designer is Shelley Cavanna, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the book, and if you stay tuned to the end of the video, you're going to see that I'm going to be doing a quilt along with this in 2023. So stay tuned for that, and let's talk a little bit about the book. The book has the sampler quilt plus 6 bonus quilts. There are 20 quilt blocks in the book. They're all star blocks, and they range from 4-inch, 8-inch, 16-inch, and 24-inch. And it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful book. And I have talked so many times about how much I love star blocks. So this is the sampler we're going to be doing as a sew along, and I'm going to show you all of the blocks that go into this quilt. There are 20 different blocks. Some you make twice, some you make 4 times, some you make 8 times. And all of that information will be on page 39, telling you how many you need to make for this quilt. And all of the instructions are for one block. So I'm going to show you all of the beautiful blocks first, and then I'll show you some quilts. The first block is called Diamond Star, and it is a 24-inch block. And it uses a lot of half square triangles, and you can use triangle paper for these. So when I am making mine in 2023, I definitely will be using triangle paper. So this is a 24-inch block called Diamond Star. The next block is also 24 inches, and it is called Christmas Star. And on this one, there are flying geese. And you can use the It's Sew flying geese paper to make these. And then these units right here are just corner squares. Of course, you could use triangle paper for this also. And the fun thing about this quilt is fabric placement will totally change it. You could do the entire quilt with one background on the outside and get a totally different look. This third block is called Carpenter Star. It is also 24 inches. And here you can also use flying geese paper. And on this one, this is an hourglass block. And when I make it, what I'll do is I'll make that block bigger and trim it down. So on a quilt like this with so many pieces, you really have to be accurate. So that's why I will be using triangle paper, foundation paper, any kind of paper I can use to make it go a little bit easier. So those are our 24-inch blocks. Now we're going to move to 16-inch blocks. Block 4 is called Tulip Star, and like I said, it's 16 inches. And if you notice, Shelley has used a lot of colors in all of the blocks. So nice, bright, beautiful colors. Block 5 is called Northern Star, and here you can use square and a square paper, flying geese paper, Moroccan Star is block 6, and it is also 16 inches square. Friendship Star, also 16 inches square, and you can see her color placement. Some of the blocks have a white background and some of them have a medium or dark background. I probably will make the quilt with all one background and then make my stars stand out. This next one is Farmer Star. It's also 16 inches. And Peony Star is also 16 inches. And it looks like on this one, she added a border on it to get it to be the 16 inches. And anytime you're doing that, what you could do is you could add your borders bigger and then put a 16.5-inch square ruler on top to trim it down to get it to be the exact size. And this one I also will be using square and a square paper and half square triangle paper. And on this quilt, when I make it, I'm gonna press everything open so I don't have to worry about seams. So those were our 16-inch blocks. Now I'm gonna show you the 8-inch blocks. This is Ribbon Star, Mosaic Star, Ohio Star, Weather Vane Star, Pinwheel Star, and Windmill Star. So these are all 8 inches. And each block you do make more than once in the quilt. Now the next blocks are the smallest blocks. They're 4 inches, and these will probably be the funnest for me to make. These are Sawtooth Stars, Flying Geese. It's like a double flying geese. Whirligigs, which are pinwheels. Mill wheels, which I've never made those before, and then crisscross. And this crisscross is kind of like a great granny block. So these are all of the blocks used in the book. Now let's take a close look at the Barn Star Sampler Quilt. It's 80 by 100 inches, so pretty big. And this is the one that we're going to be doing as a quilt along in 2023, but let me show you the quilt up close. So here's the quilt, and you can see the quilting up close. And I wanted to point out, like, this is a 24-inch block over here, a 16-inch block, an 8-inch block, and then over here are some 4-inch blocks. And it shows you how to put them all together, but you can see lots of seams all touching. So you can either press according to the pattern, or when I do the sew along that I'm about to talk about, I'm going to press everything open. But I wanted you to just see the color, so we're going to kind of move around the quilt just so you can see how beautiful it is. And you can also see her fabric placement and the quilting. And the book has beautiful photos where it does show you up close the colors. So we'll show this side. I think that's good. And then I'll pull it. And you can see this is just a beautiful Barn Star quilt. So these are quilts that quilt blocks you would find on barns. They are just very simple stars. So stars you've probably made before, and just really pretty. Okay, and then we're gonna go the other way, and then I'm gonna get to show you what I'm gonna do. So anytime I'm inspired by a quilt, I want to make it. So when I saw this quilt, I was like, you know what? I want to make this. And I want to make it in different colors. And like I said earlier, when you're looking at this quilt, some of her stars have a white background, some have a medium. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do one background. And I've decided that I'm going to combine Simply Delightful by Sherry and Chelsea and Sunnyside by Corey Yoder. Our Moda sales rep just came by, and I just loved these collections. So my plan is going to be, I'm going to buy a fat quarter bundle of both, and I'm going to color it as I go, and I'm just going to have a quilt with all of these beautiful colors. Let me kind of put them together so you can see them all together. It's going to be a beautiful array of all these colors, so very rainbowish. And what I'm going to do is pick one background. So I'm either going to use this white from Sunwashed, this white from Simply Delightful, or I'm going to use 20708-36, which is my favorite white. So basically I'm just going to start with pre-cuts and I'm just going to have fun. And I am going to mix the blues and I'm going to mix the yellows. The only color I might take out, I might not use the orange. That's going to be my only change, but my goal is going to be to try to use as many colors as I can. And I hope you join me for the quilt along in 2023 at Fat Quarter Shop. And now that I've shown you the Barn Star quilt, let me show you the bonus quilts that are in the book that use the same exact blocks, just differently. So now I get to show you the additional 6 quilts that are in the book. And this first one is called Flower Farm, and it mixes different units from that block 1 and places them in different places. This one comes out at 40 inches square, and so if you rewind the video and see, you'll just see the same blocks just rotated differently. On the back of her quilts, Shelley made kind of like a paper that glues down, and it has the name, and it says her name and how to get a hold of her if the quilt gets lost. So this is the first quilt, Flower Farm. And on this quilting, I did want to point out this thread is not a color. I guess it is more of a see-through. The second quilt is set on point. It's called T for 2. And so you can see it's on point. And this uses 3 different blocks from the book. And these are the 8-inch sizes. I'm going to show you the border she used. So that's her border and her backing. Most of her backings are gray and light. And you just make this on point. So I would say this one would be more of an intermediate just because it's on point, and that was T for 2. The next quilt is much bigger. It's 64 inches square. It's called Cordelia, and it mixes block 8 and block 9. And because this one has that border around it, it makes it really nice for everything to sew together nicely. This quilting is more geometric, but this one is a white thread. And this one has a red backing that you can really see the quilting on this one, and she did a navy binding. This next quilt, it kind of fits its name. It's called Lakeside, and it uses 2 different blocks also, 5 and 6. And when they're combined, it creates this diamond effect. And this one is a little bit bigger, 64 by 80. So this actually would be a great twin quilt. And this would actually be great for a college dorm because it's just nice, big, bright colors. And there's the back. And that again is Lakeside. This next quilt is called Prairie Rose, and it's pinks and purples, and it uses 1 block, and all it does is change the color placement on some of the blocks are lighter, some of the blocks are darker. And this one is 78 by 78, and the back on this one is kind of like textured and purple, and then her quilting is just done with a nice white thread, I believe. And then the very last quilt in the book is a table runner, and it's actually my second favorite. So my favorite thing is obviously the Barn Star quilt, but I love this table runner. It's called Baking Day. It uses the 4-inch blocks, and it uses a combination of 3 of them. Of course, with any of these, you could change them out. And this has a purple binding and that same backing. So anytime you have leftover backing from one quilt, just always think about using it for a different quilt. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you love this trunk show of Barn Star Sampler. Again, the book is by Shelley Cavanna, and you can pick it up at Fat Quarter Shop. But more than that, I really want you guys to join me in our quilt along in 2023. And with that quilt along, you can do anything you want. Use any fabrics, just have fun, and share them with us on social media. We'd love to see them, and I'll see you in another video soon. Bye.